Now that we're back from commercial, we have a story about commercials and some of the most familiar yet largely anonymous actors on television. Here's David Pogue.
Hey, Flo.
Cool. You know those Progressive insurance ads?
Good. Again.
Ooh, a big old tree limb comes crashing through the window. Boom! You're covered.
This is what it's like to make one.
Steph, lose the wow up front. Ready and action.
Maybe a big old tree crashes through her living room. Uh-oh, she's covered.
Is it safe to say that doing what you do, having witnessed it, is harder than the average person might think?
I'm gonna say yes, because you're catching me at the halfway point of our day, and I'm like, oh, mom needs a steak.
Comedian Stephanie Courtney has played Flo the insurance woman in more than 215 ads so far. She's helped turn Progressive into America's second largest insurance company.
You are, by any measure, one of the most successful actors in the world.
Oh.
You've been on television nonstop for 16 years.
Oh, yeah.
Face recognition by the public, money, like every single way there is, you are at the top.
Thanks. I'm not gonna fight you on that, even though in my head I'm like, what?
What does it mean when you go out in public? Do people harass you, want selfies?
No, not really. I mean, I'm sort of halfway to Flo right now, but normally I look like a sea hag. So I get a double life.
She's come a long way since 2007.
I was broke as a joke. I was auditioning. I was driving around LA, auditioning for every commercial, every show.
Is it too much of a trope to say that you were a struggling actor?
I think that would be a compliment. I would have aspired to be a struggling actor. And then I got the audition for Progressive.
That first ad wasn't intended to be funny, but then came the ad lib that changed advertising history.
So I remember the first actor, his line after I tell him the whole thing is, wow, you know? And he said, wow. And 24/7 live support, all at no extra charge.
Wow.
Wow. I'm like, wow. And then I was kind of shocked at how I screamed in this actor's face, and I was like, wow, I say it louder. Wow, I know, I say it louder. And so that's the first clue about, like, who is she? How crazy can she get?
Viewers loved Flo, and a commercial icon was born.
Ding. The name your price tool. Oh, gosh, don't mind if I do.
Now, you may know Dean Winters from his roles on Oz.
Not only did he say that he put a curse on me, he said he put a curse on you.
30 Rock.
Dennis Duffy, Beeper King.
Who's got a gun?
Or John Wick. But you're most likely to know him from the ads he's made for Allstate, more than 150 of them.
I'm a parking gate and I'm all out of whack.
He plays Mayhem, the human embodiment of every risky person, place, or thing in your life.
I'm a raccoon.
I'm a bear.
I'm a random windstorm. Shaky, shaky.
It's like mayhem, mayhem, mayhem. I can't even ride the subway anymore.
Does it bother you at all that you're getting recognized more for an ad campaign?
Yeah, I think in the beginning maybe a little bit, but I wouldn't have the lifestyle that I live if it wasn't for people watching the commercials, watching the TV shows and movies, paying for their insurance. So every time someone stops me, my first thought is, oh, this person is helping me pay my mortgage.
The luxury of having a side hustle is not lost on Winters.
It's a very fickle business and thing, you know. You can go 6 months, 8 months without working easily, you know. A lot of my friends are struggling right now, and so, like, I'm very cognizant of how lucky I am. It's become like the greatest thing that ever happened to me.
Barbie has always shown us that we can turn the impossible into reality with boldness and a little heart.
I am a 360-degree entertainer, singer, songwriter, vocal coach.
So playing this game for 10 minutes could win you more than a whole day's work.
But if anyone knows about the ups and downs of showbiz, it's Deanna Colon.
If you want to be in the world of entertainment, you have to do it all.
Can't stop now, I've traveled so far.
She was on America's Got Talent.
Check out my house, check out my tree.
And she's appeared in ads for Pepsi and Big Lots. But the biggest break she ever got was the Jardiance commercial.
I have type 2 diabetes, but I manage it well. It's a little pill with a big story to tell.
I never even gave her a name, but the chick from the Jardiance commercial, she was dancing with my mailman, and I'm, hey, how you doing, buddy? And she's living her best life.
The ad aired in March 2023, and aired, and aired, and aired.
Apparently, they showed it 1 million times. People were yelling at me online, I'm so sick of seeing your face. And I'm like, I have no power in how much they air this thing, guys.
Every day is Black Friday.
I don't think the public has any idea what commercials pay.
So I'll tell you, with Big Lots, I made over $100,000 in a 3-month period.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Plus health insurance.
Yeah, plus you get your health insurance. Yeah, it's awesome.
What wasn't so awesome was the online hate that the Jardiance ad brought her.
I would get emails to my personal website that were horrible, and I'd just be crying. And it was mostly about my weight and how, oh, if you danced like that all the time, you wouldn't be the size you are. And
would you do anything differently now that you know how toxic and horrific some people can be?
No, I'm always going to be a plus-size woman. I'm always going to be a curvy woman. And you're going to see me singing and dancing and acting. The joy of it all far outweighs the haters.
Sports! I've never been #1 in anything until I put these babies on.
Meanwhile, Dean Winters will be mayhem for as long as Allstate will have him.
I really hoped I'm doing it until mayhem is wheelchair racing in a nursing home. You know what I mean?
And I'm feeling every single creepy finger on this old man's hair.
As for Stephanie Courtney, she's given up her youthful dreams of appearing on Broadway and on Saturday Night Live. But she still performs every week with the Groundlings improv group in LA. And she still loves being Flo.
1, 2, 3. I will tell you the thing that made my heart grew 3 sizes that day was the Halloween costumes. Seeing especially little kids, that I love it so much. I'm like, just keep reapplying powder, reapply your lipstick. Go forth, be free. Go spread the word.
Our Steve Hartman has watched any number of everyday people do plenty of pretty amazing things. So how will he do when he's put to the test? Just watch.
When a former Zamboni driver took to the ice last week as an emergency replacement goaltender and stopped 8 out of 10 shots, he became an overnight sensation. Interviews and autographs, everyone celebrating the average Joe who appeared to be as good as an NHL goalie. But I wondered if maybe the opposite was true, that maybe NHL goalies are no better than the average Joe. To test my theory, I suited up the most average Joe I know. Me. Prior to this, the only hockey position I ever played was hockey dad.
Got it?
My son Emmett signed up for lessons a few months ago, and from my place in the stands, I almost immediately started questioning the goalie position. Is it really as hard as everyone makes it look? Or might a bale of hay perform just as well? So this week, I brought my skepticism to Springfield, Massachusetts, home of the minor league's Springfield Thunderbirds. Chris Drieger is their goalie, and like everyone else in America, Chris was amazed that a Zamboni driver could do so well.
Can you believe it? I can, because I think goalieing is a lot easier than people think. Yeah. Like, you can go out there and make some saves. Like, they're going to hit you sometimes. Yeah, right, because you take up most of the net. Yeah, you take up the net.
A goal opening is 24 square feet, but a person in pads takes up almost half that, leaving just a few pockets to even defend.
I predict I'm going to block 8 out of 10, just like the Zamboni driver. I drive a car. How different is that than a Zamboni?
And with that, it was time to put my lack of skills to the test. My opponent would be no slouch, a prime NHL prospect named Henrik Borgstrom.
You think you can score on me every time?
I highly think so, yeah. You can't even hold your stick right.
Game on, rink rat. So, is goaltending really that hard? Initial indications seem to be yes.
He's kind of slowish.
In fact, as our experiment progressed, and the taste of crow filled my senses,
That was close.
I started to believe that not only is this job hard,
I touched it.
it may be one of the most impossible in sports.
That's cheating.
In the end, he made 9 out of 10.
You missed.
And I made a promise that next time anything looks easy, I'm keeping my big goal shut.
It started with a revolutionary idea, shipping packages overnight. 50 years later, you might say FedEx delivers. David Martin catches up with its founder, Fred Smith.
Once you see it, you will never again take overnight delivery for granted. The sorting center at FedEx headquarters in Memphis. Elbow grease and computerized conveyor belts routing packages around the world.
The Fred Smith?
Well, I am. Here's the man behind it all.
Martin.
Yeah, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Fred Smith founded the company that revolutionized business 50 years ago.
I expected you somewhere to be following your planes around the world.
Well, I can. I've got a map right there, and I can pull it up. There they are, heading across the Pacific.
Is that what it looks like every day?
Yeah, we serve 220 countries around the world.
Today, FedEx employs more than 530,000 people and moves 15 million packages a day aboard a fleet of 700 airplanes, including the wide-bodied Boeing 777.
So how many of these guys do you own?
We have 59 either on hand or on order.
The engine of a 777 would not fit inside the cargo hold of his first plane. Now on display at the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum, it is the flagship of the air express industry Smith created to meet the needs of the coming information age.
Your computer goes down, you have to have the part to fix it or you're out of business. That's the whole principle of FedEx.
Yeah.
Smith saw the future when he was still an undergraduate at Yale, moonlighting as a charter pilot flying computer parts.
What I was looking at was the first stages of automation of our society, moving to a computer-based society. It was just the recognition society was automating.
Did it feel like an aha moment to you at the time?
And I suppose that'd be a good way to describe it.
But first there was Vietnam, 2 combat tours, a Silver Star, Bronze Star, and 2 Purple Hearts.
Looking around here, it looks a little more military than it does FedEx.
People don't come back here very often, so I guess this is more personal than the front office is there.
This is you in the Marines?
That's me and my platoon leaders.
2 of them didn't come back. Smith rose to the rank of captain and came home a changed man.
The Vietnam experience was the defining part of my life. Everything I ever accomplished in business is mostly what I learned in the Marine Corps, particularly about leading people.
Are you still Captain Smith?
He comes out every once in a while if necessary. I found out only in the last 3 years that all my children called me behind my back Stalin. I didn't know that. So I'm sure there were a couple of disciplinary episodes there.
So we saw some of your frontline troops at the sorting center.
Oh, did you?
Your vast network couldn't function without them.
Absolutely.
How do you reward them?
Well, the most important way we reward them is good pay and benefits. So if you work for us, we'll put you through college.
But I thought those were part-time workers.
Well, they are, but they still get medical benefits and tuition refund. Okay, fly safe.
Say Fred around here and everybody knows who you're talking about.
You hadn't hardly aged at all.
Hey,
I look like
it's because of you.
Old.
Audrey Pfeiffer went to work for him in year 1.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fred came to this computer training school had began taking. He came himself and talked about his dream, and it was so vivid and so real that I said, went the next day and got hired on the spot.
What year did you start delivering?
We started April 17th, 50 years ago. I think we had 189 pieces that day.
Did you deliver all of those packages overnight?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it was pretty easy when there were only 189.
In the first 3 years, the company lost $29 million.
So there's stories from the early days where he had to ask employees not to cash their paycheck.
Yes, I was one of them. You know, it happened a couple of times that we had to hold our checks.
But his hub and spoke system, planes flying into a central location and back out to their final destination, proved overnight delivery was possible.
It was just stunning to people that you could do that.
Within months, there was a tenfold increase in the number of packages. Keeping track of them became the next hurdle.
The problem was that there was no technology that did that.
This was the solution, a small scanning device he calls the Super Tracker.
And you scan the package upon delivery or upon pickup, transmitted the information back into our computer system.
The barcodes on the outside of the package became as important as what was inside. That flashing blue light scans those codes and tells the conveyor belt where to drop off the packages.
So it changed logistics forever.
On the night we visited the Memphis hub, planes were landing at 1-minute intervals, each one met by a team of cargo handlers.
How long does it take to unload a plane like this?
We're doing really well, probably about 35, 40 minutes.
Joshua Rhodes is the team leader.
There are days where it can be a little stressful, but I mean, that's every job.
You feel like you're always working against the clock?
But I mean, that is the life of FedEx.
15 minutes! Crunch time!
The FedEx life came to the big screen in the person of Tom Hanks,
That's how much time we have.
who played a time-obsessed manager in the movie Castaway.
Oh, wait a minute. Wilson.
Wilson. That's Wilson, all right. A replica of Wilson.
You still away?
Wilson, Hank's best and only friend, marooned on a desert island.
They may never find us. I'll be right back.
The FedEx brand name was everywhere, but the plot had public relations disaster written all over it.
When I told our senior VP of marketing that I'd agreed to let a FedEx plane be crashed with Tom Hanks in it, he almost passed out.
It became what Smith calls a $100 million infomercial for a company that is always racing the clock.
Those packages just
Yeah,
don't stop moving.
you don't want them to sit there because that's just idle cost.
Within hours of landing, the planes are loaded and ready to take off again. In the control tower, Al Coleman needs to get each one airborne within 15 minutes of pushing back from the gate.
We like burning our fuel in flight and not taxiing.
Is there a difference between controlling cargo planes and passenger planes?
No, sir. The only difference is packages don't complain.
That much was true before Fred Smith. He came along and changed everything else.
She's the comic who made a name for herself channeling President Trump. This morning, Sarah Cooper, speaking as herself with Jim Axelrod.
We have a situation where we're looking very strongly at sinks and showers.
You might find this hard to believe. Internet sensation that she is.
I proved I was all there because I aced it. I aced the test.
But this time last year, Sarah Cooper was a struggling 43-year-old stand-up with a handful of followers, happy to get booked into a pizza place and just about ready to wave the white flag.
Had you given up at all on the idea that you could break through?
I kind of had.
Then the president threw her career a lifeline, unintentionally, of course.
And then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that?
Suddenly, Sarah Cooper lip-syncing Donald Trump.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
Stripping away everything but his words was the hottest thing going.
What my videos did was take all that away and say, listen to what he's saying. Listen to what he's not saying, because really he's not saying anything.
Born in Jamaica, raised in Maryland, Cooper always had the entertainment bug. But in her 20s, she chose stability over the dream, working for Yahoo and Google and doing comedy on the side. Still, tech gave her just what she needed: material.
I noticed in meetings there was a lot of imitation going on. You saw someone get up and pace around the room, so maybe in the next meeting you'd get up and pace around the room.
Somebody slamming their hand down on a desk, looking at everybody and saying, "Will it scale?"
Right. That's very dramatic, but yeah.
So watching Donald Trump in a news conference last April.
And I think you said that hasn't been checked, but you're going to test it.
When he was just like, you said we haven't checked that, but we're going to try it, right?
And I think you said that hasn't been checked, but you're going to test it.
I saw the other person in the room going, what? What are you talking about?
She knew she'd found just what she needed and who.
Is there a relationship between these tech bros you're seeing dropping the right phrase and President Trump?
Oh, God, yes. We see the suit and we see the seal and we see people nodding that we think, oh, he must be making sense. He must be making sense, because why would all these people be listening and laughing and clapping and agreeing with him?
2 hours later.
You did How to Medical in 2 hours?
Mm-hmm.
Working as basic as it gets.
Were you shooting them with a professional crew?
Oh, God, it was just my camera.
On your phone?
Yes, I can do a reenactment of how I shot these. This was me. This was me. That's all I did.
Sarah Cooper, after 20 years of trying, was an overnight success.
And the next morning, it had like 1 million views or something.
Next thing she knew, Seinfeld was retweeting her, Cher was calling her Oscar-worthy, and Kamala Harris wanted to talk to her.
Hi, everybody. Hi! Hi!
A little bit. Want to see him stick around just because he's good for business?
No.
But as Donald Trump leaves office, don't think for a moment that Sarah Cooper is the least bit conflicted.
I think I found a way to lampoon him that was different and interesting, but I think we're done.
We're done. We're not going to see any more.
We're not going to see any more, and I feel like I kind of have to use it as a propellant, but I also have to escape it in a way. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be known as the lip-syncing girl.
As good as old-school presidential impersonators were, like Vaughn Meader.
Show the handsome prince and all the people of his country lived happily ever after.
And Rich Little.
But I am that president. Nixon, Richard M.
Sarah Cooper is next generation.
You're not Rich Little. You're not Vaughn Meader. You're not some mimic. People? You're making me feel 1,000 years old.
As she now inaugurates the next stage of her career, she does admit to some anxiety.
What if that was it? You know what I mean? What if that was my 15 minutes? Like, what if I'll never be able to do anything as incredible as that again?
Oh, my man! But a recent Netflix special with guests like Helen Mirren.
That is very funny.
Look
at you. You are a piece.
You gotta put the thumbs up.
And a series in development with CBS mean Cooper is in a much different place this January than last.
If we're sitting on this bench in 5 years, what do you feel like we're going to be talking about?
I would like to make the next Seinfeld. I would like to make the next Office. I would love to do a show that's really very much in my voice.
Her voice, not his.
Do you feel like you're having to pull the mask off and here's who I am?
That's what I want to do. I would like to get to that point where I really just truly feel like myself.
She's a writer whose debut novel has become a sensation, filled with life lessons found under the title Lessons in Chemistry. Tracy Smith asked author Bonnie Garmus to share her formula for success.
So do you hang out in bookstores?
I do. I love bookstores. It's the best place to go any day of the week.
After a decades-long career as a copywriter, Bonnie Garmus has found a new gig.
Does it have a different feel now that you have a book in the bookstore? Yeah, it's a much better feel.
Her debut novel, Lessons in Chemistry, arrived in bookstores in April of 2022, is in its 56th week on the New York Times bestsellers list, and has been translated into 40 languages.
Rebop, boom, bam.
This fall, it'll be an Apple TV series starring Oscar winner Brie Larson.
Welcome, viewers. My name is Elizabeth Zott, and this is Supper at 6.
And it's made Garmus, at age 66, something of a literary rock star.
I'm such a huge fan.
Thank you. I gave 20 copies of your book away at Christmas time.
Oh my God,
I loved it.
Hug you?
Yes.
Thanks, Mommy.
The adoration is still a bit of a novelty. When Garmus sent out her first finished book, it was rejected 98 times.
Did you want to give up?
Oh yeah, but you know, the thing with writing, I think is so important for people to realize is that the only one who says it's over is you. It's never over. Just because 98 people reject you doesn't mean that they were right.
Garmus set that first book aside, and after a frustrating meeting at work when a male colleague took credit for one of her ideas, she started writing a new novel.
I was supposed to be revising what I was working on, and instead I wrote the first chapter of Lessons in Chemistry. So I now call that constructive anger.
Constructive anger.
Yes.
Clearly it was good. It fueled your fire.
Yeah. I could hear her in my head. I knew she wanted to tell me that her decade was even worse.
Set in the 1950s and early 60s, Lessons is about Elizabeth Zott, a chemist and mom who hosts a cooking show that ends up teaching women about a lot more than food.
Some reviews have called the book subversive. Do you like that?
Yeah, I think Elizabeth Zott is entirely subversive, and when I was writing it, I wanted the tone of the book, the writing style, the voice to be subversive.
In what way?
I just thought it would be really interesting to have a character who took herself seriously and never thought about what she looked like, never, doubted herself. Basically, I was writing my role model.
Garmus didn't have to look far for inspiration. Her mom was a nurse who had to stop working when she got pregnant.
Lessons in Chemistry is in part for her.
Yeah, it's in honor of my mother. For sure. My mother would tell you she would not like the swearing, but she would really approve of the message of women being more of who they really are.
Garmus herself is a wife and mother to 2 daughters. During the 5 years it took her to write the book, she kept her full-time copywriting job and taught herself chemistry, even trying some experiments from this book.
And the fire department was called. Yeah. One of my neighbors saw flames through the window and called the fire department. Yeah. Anyway, I learned the hard way. You should really take this really seriously.
But not everything she wrote about required research.
Why make Elizabeth a rower?
Well, I had to put something in the book I actually knew about.
Garmus started rowing in her late 30s here in Seattle. It's a sport that involves early mornings, grueling workouts, and brutal weather. So it makes sense that tough-as-nails Elizabeth Zott rows too.
Is this kind of a masochistic sport?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We used to say before every race, we'd join hands in the boat and we'd say, to the death. Because you do want to go all the way. You don't want to give up.
It's gonna feel pretty different now that we've got the wind behind us.
Seems in rowing and in writing, dogged determination pays off. When Garmus finished Lessons, she found herself in the middle of a bidding war. For a woman used to rejection, it was too much.
The whole time in the back of my head, I didn't believe it. And so I had this weird habit where I'd go to bed and then I'd get up in the middle of the night and go to my computer and look at email and see if I'd imagined the whole thing, because I have a pretty good imagination.
So you would check your computer to make sure it was real?
Yeah. And I think the third night I did this, my husband literally grabbed my arm and pulled me down and he said, "I'll save you a trip. It's real."
It's real, all right. In fact, readers tell Garmus the story of Elizabeth Zott inspired them to change their lives, take up rowing, go to law school.
Thank you for writing such a courageous book for us women, honestly.
And the story of Bonnie Garmus was a pretty powerful lesson, too.
Ever since you were 5 years old, you wanted to be
a novelist.
A novelist.
Yeah.
And now...
Yeah, I am. For me, it's just a dream come true.
And there's something about, I mean, if one of the messages of the book is you can change your story, you can own your story.
Yeah.
That's kind of you too.
Yeah, it's me too. I think it's everyone though. That's why so many people see themselves in the book. So yeah, you can change your story.
A natural and remarkable talent for song has given some boys in a desperately poor country a chance to dream. We traveled far away with our Seth Doan to give them a listen.
Amid the hubbub of this bustling city, it was the most unexpected sound. Pure, simple, the voice of a boy, barely a teen.
The first song that we heard was Jimmy singing, and it was a song of giving thanks to God for his life.
The song's meaning later struck Virginia Summers more, considering they're in Madagascar, an island country in the Indian Ocean where nearly 80% of people eke out a living on less than $2 a day. It was 2018, and they'd been driving through Antananarivo, the capital.
You know, we were both kind of sitting there lost in our thoughts. That song hit, and we both went,
yeah.
Did you hear that?
Yeah. This is so unusual. We have to figure out where this is coming from.
Virginia and her husband, John Miller, who works at the U.S. Embassy, tracked down that boy, Jimmy, and learned he'd started an a cappella group with his friends. They didn't have a stage, just the street, and it didn't matter.
What is it about this music that touches you so much?
It's honest.
They are amongst the poorest of the poor in Madagascar. And it's just almost inconceivable that this could have been happening, yet there it was.
The two were so struck by the boy's talent, they started taking videos and posting them online. In the last year, those videos have been viewed millions of times. We found them in a sort of slum in the center of Antananarivo. It's a neighborhood so poor that after it rains, raw sewage flows down open pathways. The place teems with activity. But when the singing starts, the chaotic lives around them seem to freeze. The boys, who are ages 11 to 16 and mostly related, are Richa, Tujo, Tahiri, Te'eri, Aicha, Jimmy, Jatu, and Reef.
So, how did you all learn to sing like this?
I hear people singing outside, so I tried to copy, Jatu said. I didn't really learn it, Tahiri added. I sort of inherited it from my family. With such tiny homes, life pours onto the little alleyways. And here, music provides a soundtrack to life, or an escape from it. And while not all exhibit the same raw talent, most do share unbridled enthusiasm.
This is your house here?
One of the boys in the a cappella group, 11-year-old Aicha, showed us where he lives, packed in with his parents, a family of 8. Now that I've grown up, I'm no longer comfortable sleeping in the same bed as my parents, he admitted. It's a hardship, his father said. I don't know if it's our fate from God, but we try to raise our kids to the best of our ability. The proud parents have posted awards for the boys' group, Zaza Kanto.
Did you know that he had this talent for singing?
The talent comes straight from the both of us, his father said. I knew he had a good voice, his mother added. Those voices and their gusto grabbed Nicole Bayer.
What is happening in Madagascar? What has just happened?
One of Miller's colleagues at the U.S. Embassy. She was putting together a music event when she saw this video of the boys and immediately invited Zaza Kanto to contribute.
You don't think of an embassy as caring about a group of kids on the street singing.
Well, for us, it's important to build bridges of understanding between Americans and the countries where we serve.
Through a cultural exchange program called American Music Abroad, Bayer brought to Madagascar musician Fredo Austin of the band Freedom's Boombox.
How rare is this sort of raw talent?
For 8 kids, very rare. They were singing out their love for music.
Austin, whom we met in New York, says he's mentored musicians in about 50 countries, but was still marveling about those boys he'd met in Madagascar and how quickly they'd learned.
One of the things that we incorporated in our workshops with them was beatboxing, which is mouth percussion. And when you add that to their already amazing vocals, it's just, wow, oh my goodness, these kids are incredible. And they picked it up quick.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know you are going to be blown away, so please put your hands together for the incredible Zaza Kanto!
The workshops concluded with a concert, which was nationally televised.
And clips of that concert we put on the embassy Facebook page, instantly went viral. It really is a magical group.
The boys dream of a record deal, but their lives have not changed much, nor has one appointment they always keep. Each Sunday, they walk about an hour from their slum to a nicer part of town, constructing a homemade rugby ball along the way to pass the time. Their destination is a hostel called the Underground, where they first met Virginia Summers and John Miller back in 2018. On a good day, they can make about $20, a lot of money here. And they can always count on at least 2 very enthusiastic fans.
You know, Sunday's my day for joy. This is something that is so meaningful for us to create a relationship with these boys. It's something they give to us, quite frankly.
This song, which has become a hit, is about the weakest condemning the powerful, be it bad politicians or fighting parents. The boys told us they love how they feel when they're singing. It gives them strength and a chance to dream. And for those in earshot, Virginia Summers says this pure sound transforms a city, which can be inhumane, into a place that's utterly human.
Take a dose of political satire, mix in a dash of musical theater, add some colorful commentary, and next on our horizon, comedian Randy Rainbow. Here's Rita Braver.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Randy Rainbow!
The fans who flock to see Randy Rainbow's shows,
hey girl,
are here because they found comic relief from the past few years of politics and pandemic.
You got through it, because of me.
By watching his satirical videos.
How do you solve a problem like Korea?
Often skewering
I grew up in
let's cut the
conservative political figures.
'Cause alternative facts are facts that aren't facts. Just be.
I never
shut up. Best, just be best. Sedition. Look it up.
They've made him a social media sensation with hundreds of millions of views. But even his most ardent admirers may not know the real and improbable Randy Rainbow story. Just for starters, your name really is Randy Rainbow.
Rita, I swear to God, it's my name. I know it sounds like the corniest stage name that you could choose. I would not do that to myself. It is on my birth certificate.
It stood you in good stead.
But I had to grow into it. I had no choice.
Once I was a no one, now I'm hashtag blessed.
Now 40, he grew up first on Long Island, then in Florida, and credits his mother's love of musicals with his encyclopedic knowledge of show tunes. At age 8, he staged a backyard production of Disney's Snow White, starring himself.
My mother made me a skirt, and I did this whole, tour de force for the neighborhood.
And how they like it?
They were very supportive and loved it. I don't know what the conversations were on the way home. And it's really, you know, a testament to my mother for not ever making me second guess my decision to do that.
He tells it all in his new memoir. It's a portrait of a lonely, awkward kid who found solace doing children's theater.
I was chubby and effeminate, and I didn't really fit in. And so it was a field day for the bullies at school.
What do you like about living here?
I mean, everything.
A few years after high school, Rainbow moved to New York. But too insecure to even go on auditions, he worked a series of odd jobs until he hit on the idea of making comic videos.
Bam! Mike's in a coma.
One of the first, using an infamous leaked audio tape of actor Mel Gibson being abusive to his girlfriend.
How dare you act like such a...
His rants were anti-Semitic and homophobic, and I happen to be a gay Jew. I said, I'll date him. I walked around my apartment having romantic phone conversations with his disgusting tirades.
You're a pain in my ass.
Stop being that.
You stop being that.
His videos went viral.
Hit no.
Oh, God. And eventually, Rainbow hit on the idea of spoofing the news.
She was rebelling. Now she's a felon.
Inserting himself as a know-it-all reporter.
And welcome back to the first presidential debate.
Into actual events.
I have a great company, I have a tremendous income, and the reason I say that is not in a braggadocious way, it's because...
Braggadocious? Is that even a word?
I don't know, maybe, who knows?
And then breaking into parodies of favorite songs.
He's super callous, fragile, egocentric, braggadocious, likes to throw big words around and hopes that we all notice.
That was the mega colossal breakthrough video that got like 16 million views in the first day. So Donald,
16 million.
16 million. So that was a game changer for me.
2,102,400 minutes. How do you measure 4 years of the life?
He kept going all through the Trump presidency.
Joe. Can I call you Joe?
No.
Into the Biden era.
I'm so tired of quarantine. Mr. Biden, bring my vaccine.
You recently...
Rainbow not only plays all the parts, he handles his own wardrobe.
For example, this is a nurse is a go-to for me these days. But really, frankly, they're just slutty Halloween costumes. I have to be honest with you.
It all happens in his home studio.
MGM Studios.
A spare bedroom. Are you sitting behind a desk when you do those interviews?
No, there's nothing. It's just this.
It
And
says-
frankly, I'm often not wearing pants. I put on pants because you're here, Rita.
We got to watch him in action as he created his latest video.
Here's the tea. I almost said it again.
Then for the end,
Taking on Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' law that bans discussion of sexual orientation with young children in classrooms.
It's a badge that I wear with a fabulous flair, 'cause I'm gay, 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 gay.
The so-called Don't Say Gay law. You say you don't think of yourself as really being political.
I know, people are surprised when I say that. It's never my intention or primary objective to make a political statement. I'm trying only to be amusing first and foremost, but I'm poking fun at everybody, all sides and opinions, including my own.
Clang, clang, clang when Josh Hawley.
There has been some talk that you may take this show that you've had on the road and bring it to Broadway.
We're talking about it. Could you imagine that story? I mean, this schmuck in wigs in his living room making videos, winding up on a Broadway stage. I hope that it's coming.
It sounds like a happy ending to me.
Sounds good to me.
Grace, say your full name. Grace Helbig, Grace, as in boy, I-G. Hannah. Hannah Hart, Hannah, Hart. Was that on purpose, that alliteration by your parents? Well, nope. It is catchy,
Yeah,
Hannah Hart.
I know. People always ask me if it's my real name, and I'm like, yep, yeah.
How'd you end up on YouTube?
Ooh,
We have very kind of alternative stories. I started making it as a hobby, as a way for my roommate and I at the time. We both lived in Brooklyn. We both had day jobs. We'd come home at the end of the day, make a video together, kind of catching each other up on what had happened with us that day, and would alternatively edit them and try and make them funny. And then I got hired by a website a little after starting that to make original content for them. And I was able to quit my waitressing job in the city and work from home making video blogs. And then I left that website and started my own channel on YouTube.
Well, for me, I started with actually just one video. I had just moved to New York from San Francisco, and I was working as a proofreader at a translation firm. And I was talking to one of my friends one night on our little webcam, and she was like, "Oh, dude, I really miss you, man. I miss when you would get drunk and cook." And I was like, "Dude, I'll make you a video right now," because I had just gotten this new laptop. And so I opened it up. I started filming in photo booth on my iMac or on my MacBook. I started filming.
Gross.
Isn't that gross?
That's so old. You're so old.
I'm so old. I started filming on photo booth, and I edited it in iMovie, and I sent it to her on YouTube because at the time, in 2011, that was the only way I knew how to send someone a video. Yeah. It wasn't like an intentional sort of starting a channel or anything like that. I actually think 2011 was one of the last windows where people could start to use YouTube without really knowing what it was or what it was going to be.
Hannah, when did you realize it had moved beyond just making drunk cooking videos to this is a career where you could make money and make a lot of money?
Well, it's interesting because I don't think it became a career to make money for a long time, like multiple years. But it did become a job I could do or a job I could have or a way to start my own business. That was really kind of the thing that was most appealing about it. And so at that point, all these little bells are going off my head. I'm like, wait a minute. Am I on the cusp of something? I better start paying way more attention.
Hold up, am I pioneering something?
Yeah.
Oh no,
man.
I should figure this out.
Yeah.
Grace, when did you realize that you could make a career out of this?
It was years and years in the making before it became a real, stable, viable career. I was making the videos for fun while I was doing improv and auditioning for TV and film and commercials, thinking that the traditional media path was the only path for me to do comedy in this world. And I, spoiler alert, wasn't getting chosen by any casting directors at all. So YouTube was an amazing opportunity to put my voice out there without gatekeepers, to allow an audience to see the things that I wanted in the world from my brain without someone having to choose that they can look at this video of yours. YouTube is a platform that's based on collaboration rather than competition, where everyone that has different channels promotes each other's channels. High tides raise all ships, so you work together, you collaborate, you make videos, you cross-promote. And because we're all a united front in a way, trying to establish this platform and the legitimacy of it, we all feel very, I guess, proud when one of us succeeds in a certain way.
Do you feel like celebrities?
No.
I'm a pioneer, I'm a celebrity. I mean, geez.
More labels.
Labels.
I'm a Libra. I don't. I feel like a human being, which is very exciting for me.
It's a step up from robot.
Yeah, which is my usual.
The team is called the Savannah Bananas, and if their name seems a little unusual, wait until you see them play. Chris Van Cleve takes us out to the ball game.
You've never seen the national pastime played quite like this. A batter on stilts or wearing kilts. How about a dancing umpire? It might have you thinking, that's not baseball, that's bananas. And you'd be right. The viral video sensation Savannah Bananas are a different bunch by design.
Savannah Bananas are a baseball team with one goal, to make baseball fun.
How do you make baseball fun?
We celebrate everything.
Jesse Cole is the team's owner, clad in a bright yellow tuxedo. Think of him as the ringmaster of this baseball circus, happening not under the big top, but at historic Grayson Stadium, where Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, and Hank Aaron once played.
What does a baseball purist think about what you're doing?
Baseball purists don't love what we do, but we're not for them. I believe we're in a TikTok world. We can get entertainment on our fingertips, right, like this. And I think baseball needs that.
The 6-year-old team dominates its collegiate summer league and is playing a series of exhibition games. Think P.T. Barnum meets the Harlem Globetrotters at a dance party. Cole calls it banana ball. He's tweaked the rules to amp up the action, including adding a 2-hour time limit.
Start the clock!
And it wouldn't be banana ball without lots of fun, like this groovin' choreographed windup before pitcher Kyle Luggs hurls a strike. It's been viewed over 42 million times on TikTok.
It blows my mind. It's insane to think about. Try and do it again. See what you can do next to get more.
See if you can beat it.
Yeah.
His catcher, Bill Leroy.
Millions and millions of views because of the craziness he's doing, on the mound. And then he throws a strike, too.
Second baseman and backup dancer Dalton Malden.
We're mixing fun and having a good time playing ball.
And my girlfriend's mom's here, and I just struck out.
Outfielder Ty Jackson went viral making this play.
Oh, I gotta catch that. I gotta catch that. I gotta catch that. I just caught that. Y'all heard that? Hey, say what's up.
What is that like, waking up the next morning and you're everywhere?
Like, that's a dream as a kid, like to be on ESPN, and it finally happened. Everybody's blowing up my phone, and I loved every bit of it.
Every game is a sellout, with a ripening waiting list 51,000 people long. For $20, fans get a ticket to the show, as well as all you can eat and drink. On a recent night, thousands dressed as, what else? Bananas.
Is this normal for a baseball game?
Oh, no, it's not. And it's not normal for me, but given the circumstances, I welcome it all day long.
And their 2.7 million TikTok followers, far more than any major league team, helped draw fans from 31 states. The Renners drove 11 and a half hours from Ohio.
Major League Baseball is not quite anything like this. It's boring.
Perhaps what's most striking about Banana Ball, for 2 hours, fans' eyes were not on their phones, but on the field. No need to look to social media for viral moments when they're happening right in front of you.
That's what makes us, us. All of us have certain characteristics, certain energy, and all of us coming together, I think, makes the bananas.
It's a tale both tantalizing and tasty, and at its center, some Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Here's Lee Cowan.
I've never failed a test in life.
Richard Montañez. He really likes his superlatives.
I'm probably the most uneducated, brilliant person you will ever meet.
There's one. Here's another.
I'm known as the godfather of Hispanic branding.
Why Hispanic branding? Well, because Montañez claims to be the Willy Wonka behind one of the spiciest and best-selling snack foods on the market. Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
Flamin' Hot Cheetos, anyone? Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
It's no small thing because Flamin' Hot Cheetos are an industry well beyond just the snack food aisle.
Whoa, Chief, there's no fire here. Just Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
They're featured in fashion shows, internet memes,
The Flaming Hot Cheeto Turkey.
even recipes for Thanksgiving turkeys.
Voila.
And they remain front and center in stores, along with their traditional Cheeto brethren.
You don't have to reach up and you don't have to bend down. Top seller.
Yeah. The Genesis tale, at least as told by Richard Montañez, goes like this. He and his wife Judy invented the spicy sensation right in their own kitchen, back when Montañez was a factory worker at a Frito-Lay plant in Southern California.
My whole life I'd been told that I was mentally incapable, that I was mentally challenged because I thought different. So that kind of stuck with me. Like, a great idea can come from anywhere, any place, anyone.
PepsiCo, Frito-Lay's parent company, initially went along with the origin story, at least publicly. After all, this bootstraps kind of tale was pretty good for the brand. That's Montañez touting Flaming Hots in the Blue Room at the White House. But even he says PepsiCo warned him to keep those superlatives in check.
Because they would even tell me, Richard, in your speeches, you need to say it was a team effort. But in reality, It never was. If you want to go ahead and say it was a team effort, I'll give you that, but in my heart, it had nothing to do with the team.
He was promoted up the corporate ladder during his career, retiring from Frito-Lay in 2019 as a director, working on Hispanic marketing. But it wasn't an easy trip to the top, he says.
I remember one director said, "You're never going to get into marketing. You have to have an MBA. You don't even have a high school diploma, so give it up."
Did you think it was racism?
I think it was a type of racism, color, but also pedigree.
He sat down to write a book about his career as the snack foods creator, Flamin' Hot. But on the eve of its release, the LA Times published the results of a year-long investigation. Yep, a reporter spent a year digging into Flamin' Hots, which showed that the popular snack food we all know today was more than likely developed at Frito-Lay's headquarters in Plano, Texas, not the humble kitchen of the Montañez family.
Maybe they did. What I had was what I had. I don't know what you're talking about.
Some members of the team that says it developed the recipe for Flamin' Hots are, in fact, Flamin' Hot mad at Montañez for taking credit. That said, it's not a debate that's exactly going to crumble Western civilization, but there is something instructive about his story that many, especially in the Latino community, say is worth hearing. Before the Cheeto dust hit the fan, he took us to his old neighborhood, on the other side of the tracks, as he puts it.
This had the coldest beer in Southern California. He had the old.
As poor as he was, he knew when he got his first job at Frito-Lay, as a janitor, he better make it count.
It was my ticket, my chance. If I got that job, I would be set for life. I can go from the fields into the factories.
He was always thinking, mainly about ways to include people like him.
It just kind of dawned on me,
who love traditional Mexican spices.
I mean, everything you need to create a spicy flavor is right here. All this stuff is, this is home.
But what to put those spices on? One day, he saw a street vendor selling elotes, corn, sprinkled with chili powder.
I looked at it, I'm like, oh my God, that looks like a Cheeto.
Not knowing, or perhaps not caring about the consequences, Montañez says he cold called the CEO of Frito-Lay directly, a man named Roger Enrico.
Did you ever think twice about dialing that phone?
Yeah, but I didn't know what protocol was. It's like, I don't think I could spell the word at the time, let alone know what it meant,
Were you amazed that he picked up the phone?
Oh, totally.
Enrico died in 2016, but we talked with his executive assistant who remembers the call like it was yesterday. After all, it was pretty extraordinary.
Who let the janitor call the CEO?
His bold pitch to the top executive seems to have happened. The question is, when did it happen? Montañez says he made that call in 1991. But by that time, PepsiCo says it had already trademarked the name Flamin' Hot and was test marketing the product in select cities. Now, if he knew that, why would he pitch a product already in existence? If he didn't know it, then maybe it's a case of great minds think alike, a worthy idea that someone else had before him. In the first of several statements to a hungry press, PepsiCo said, "We do not credit the product creation to him and him alone." But later stated, "We attribute the launch and success of Flamin' Hot Cheetos and other products to several people who worked at PepsiCo, including Richard Montañez."
I mean, I never thought I'd have, as much as I have now, so I'm very thankful.
So where does that leave us?
This is my grandkids' delight.
His book detailing his achievements, minus the questions about them, is still being released next week. And there's a postscript. Actress Eva Longoria is set to direct an upcoming film about his life. A huckster or a hero? One thing is clear. Richard Montañez is not about to apologize for what he thinks made him a flamin' hot success.
Would you do it all over again?
Absolutely. Absolutely.